What is a waiver and do I need one? Specifically, what is a waiver for a marriage-based petition and when do I need one? So when you are getting ready to file for your marriage-based petition, there are two different ways that a petition can be filed for an immigrant that is here in the United States. The first way is if the immigrant came with a visa, no matter what type of visa it was, they had a legal entry into the U.S., then you can file for an adjustment of status, and the immigrant does not have to go back to their home country in order to have an interview and get their green card. The second way is if the immigrant came to the United States, iwi, or we call it illegally, right, without status, so without any sort of visa, then you can get married to a U.S. citizen. That's not a problem. And you can file an I-130, which is the first petition saying, I am, let's say, the U.S. citizen, I'm married to a foreign national, and I want to petition for them. That's great, you can do that. Once it gets approved, though, that immigrant cannot adjust their status here in the United States, which means that they're going to need a waiver. We call it a 601A waiver. What this waiver is it basically asks USCIS to forgive your unlawful presence here in the United States, because when you don't have status and you don't have your visa, you didn't come with visa, so you've obtained years usually of unlawful presence. So this waiver says basically, please forgive my unlawful presence here in the United States. It would be a hardship on my U.S. citizen spouse or children if I was not able to leave the U.S. and come back to be with them in the United States. Because with a waiver, you have to, it's a hardship waiver, so it's hardship on your U.S. citizen spouse or your U.S. citizen children. Once that waiver is approved, then you will have an interview at your U.S. embassy or consulate in your home country. Once you leave and you go to that interview, then you will, get approved, hopefully, right? And then you'll come back to the United States. So they'll give you a visa to come back to the United States and ultimately get your green card here in the U.S., in the mail. But you have to have that waiver and it has to be approved in order for you to leave the United States. Because if you came to the U.S. without a visa, then if you left, then you would not be able to come back, right? Because you've already had an unlawful entry. So if you leave before the waiver is approved, you don't get a chance to come back. But that is the way that you are able to process a marriage-based petition if you are here in the United States, but you came illegally, you came without status, and you want the opportunity to be able to go back to your home country for your interview and come back to the United States and get your green card in the mail. That is when you will need a waiver.